Welcome to my channel, guys. Thanks so much for joining this evening. We're, of course, in London in Tier 5 lockdown. What fun. And because of the beginning of the new year has been, frankly, overwhelming with people needing help, I've gone live 3 times today, as you guys know well. And tonight I have 2 entrepreneurs that are going to chat, tell us what they're up to, and tell us about their businesses and what they're planning. And then we will try to support them in any way we can. And I know right now, just this week alone, personally, I've had nearly 300 people reach out to me asking for help in some way. So I know it's late. I know you could be watching Netflix, but I really appreciate it if you are here and you are able in any way to help these entrepreneurs this evening. And so right now, I know myself as an entrepreneur who started 18 companies, that sometimes when you're building businesses, you can feel terribly alone doing it. So part of what I'm trying to do is be here. Instead of sitting on Netflix and watching some pointless program, I'm in the real world with real people trying to help them and trying to make a difference with the only skill I have, which is business. So I've been in business since I left home at 15 years old and started a company. I was lucky, a lot of luck in my life in business, and I was able to retire at 40. I've come out of retirement to help people who have questions about business, or anybody right now who can't find a job. I'm saying don't wait for a job, create one for yourself. And I will help you for free to do that. I'm not here selling a course or selling some funnel marketing rubbish. I'm simply trying to help people start a business. I feel right now, as I say, I'm not a doctor. I can't be on the front line helping in that way. And so the only skill I have is business. So I'm here trying to help people understand things about business that no one's taught you. I also firmly believe that no one's born anything. No one's born a doctor. No one's born a lawyer. Of course, no one's born an entrepreneur. And there are different types of doctors. There are brain surgeons. There are GPs. There are different types of entrepreneurs. Everybody can be an entrepreneur, but just like being a doctor or a lawyer, you need help and you need training. Personally, I am sick and tired of seeing all these courses that are sold to people that are frankly just funnels to keep getting money out of people without giving any substance. Most of what I know in business can be given to you in 3 hours. So I'm dedicating myself. In the last year, I've been going online every day, giving free advice to people who have questions. And now I've upped it a level and I'll be going live every night at 8:30 p.m. to give you knowledge. I also have a podcast show where I interview the world's most successful entrepreneurs who agree to give up their time for free to mentor you, to share their knowledge with you. Some of them have done incredible things, and some of them have had the same problems you're probably having right now in your business or in your mind as you think about starting a business. So tonight we will help 2 founders. Then after I've helped these 2 founders with your help, then we will go into a Q&A session where you guys can ask questions in the comments. And then after that, I've actually set up a Discord for you guys that don't know it. You can look at the link in my bio, and we'll go into a chat area where we can have a general discussion before I fall asleep heap on the ground, because I've been at this since 5 a.m. today. So I think without further ado, I'd like to bring on our first entrepreneurial guest. Hey there. How are you? Ovi, can you hear me? Ovi, can you hear me?
Hey, Simon, yeah, I can. It's a bit dropping.
Oh, okay. Well, let's try our luck and hope it holds.
It's fine, yeah. I can
So
hear.
why don't we kick off by you telling the folks listening and myself a little bit about what you're doing and how I might be able to help you today.
Right. I'll try to keep it short. I run a recruitment business. We try to do logistics and hospitality, both sides of the business, temporary and permanent. More temporary, I would say now, and more on logistics side of things, because hospitality is kind of dead, as everyone knows. It's just myself now, and trying to scale it up, to build it up, because it's actually falling apart, to be honest, especially now.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it's just, before December, I had drivers calling me. Well, I was after drivers, looking for drivers to recruit and make the placements. After speaking with hundreds and hundreds of drivers, I barely managed to get about 20-25 guys in around the country. And now the wheel is actually turning around. the work is dropping. The clients, they don't need drivers anymore because obviously it's January and things they do to drop, especially now with the lockdown and COVID and Brexit and everything else. And now I've got the drivers calling me, getting back to me and asking for jobs, which I don't have them anymore.
Mm.
So yeah, it's one of those.
So what's the plan? And I'm wondering, I mean, you clearly know your business in and out. What can I do to help you? What is it you need?
I don't even know, Simon, to be honest. I need so many things. I need to deal with so many things in so many areas. I was thinking to find a way maybe to get some investors. I start to have issues now with the finances. I barely can afford it to keep it going. Things, they will keep growing. Costs, they will keep growing. I've got the office rental. I've got pretty much everything else. I mean, I really need to find a way to keep it going.
And I'm assuming before COVID, this was a profitable business, and
no, not really, because obviously it was a bit better. But as I was working through hotels myself, I wasn't really focusing on the business all the time. Like now, I'm in the office from 6 to 8 o'clock, 9, almost every single day, trying to do something about it. Before, it wasn't such a profitable business either. That I was traveling around the country. I was a night manager in hotels, traveling between hotels around the country. I had another job, and then I tried to focus on the business and try to usually move into an office and try to scale it up. I had 2 guys working for me last year. I needed to send them away. Now I got to the point where I'm not going to be able to afford to pay a salary straight away before I start to make some more money, to get more clients, to get more drivers in. So in other words, I'm just pretty close to have it falling apart. I've got 10 guys out now, can't complain, do make some money, but that's not going to be enough. It's just going to keep me going for maybe another month or 2 or whatever. Depends on what's going to happen. So I did try to get someone to help me out, especially with the drivers, or mainly with the clients, to find the clients. Try the commission only. It's always the same story. People with years in recruitment experience, they can do it, and I know they can, but it's always the same story saying, oh, you know what, I've got the bills to pay, which fair enough, especially now with the COVID and everything else. Totally get it. But I did this mistake before, getting guys properly employed, offering them a salary, commission on top of that. And what I've noticed, when I do give them a basic salary, they just don't do the job anymore. They do whatever they can here and there. Time flies. End of month, they wait for the salary, which, well, totally understand it. But from my point of view, if they will ask me for 2,000, 3,000 pounds a month as a salary, I will need to make those money, because obviously I do have some savings, but if I keep taking money out from there and I'm not putting anything back, it's just not going to work. So, yeah.
There's a lot to unpack here, and I want to be constructive and try to find a way to help you this evening. And so what I'm thinking about, I guess I have 2 thoughts going through my head. One is, why is the business not more profitable in general? Excuse me, my dinner there. Why are you not in general a more profitable business, and how can we fix that? And second, you're talking about staff management, which when I listen to you sounds like it's grinding you down a bit.
Yeah.
And I tell you what the long-term solution is to people management, the key to it in my view, and that is you've got to manage purpose, not people, right? So what is the purpose of your business? tell me in a sentence, what is the purpose of your business? Why does it exist?
Well, in short words, I'm here to help literally both people's companies and people's finding jobs. So, as I do mainly deal with drivers, any transport, any logistic company that is out and about after drivers, I'm here to help them out. On the other side of things, I'm here to help drivers finding jobs, because it's always the same story. They always change. So what I'm trying to do, and well, to go a little bit further with this, Simon, my plans, future plans with the business, is not just to grow it and expand, extend, opening other offices around the country and all that. I'm thinking to find a way to employ the homeless people. That's my long term. I know it sounds like impossible, but I really think about finding a way to get those guys into some jobs. I know it's going to be, as I said, almost impossible, because obviously they don't have an address, they don't have papers, they don't have documents whatsoever. But, well, don't know what to say at this stage, but I'm thinking to find a way to help those guys out somehow. Maybe not now, not tomorrow, in a year or two, maybe sooner than that. But I really want to have that as the final goal for the business.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's an amazing goal, and you've shocked me a little bit, and I'm very, in a good way. I think so many people's goals is grow the business, have 100 staff, and make X, Y, and Z.
I'll be honest with you. Obviously, I want to grow the business as well. As I said, I want to have staff around, offices around the country and all that. But don't get me wrong, Simon, I'm not going to plan to do that overnight.
Well, of course not. But I do think you're going in the right direction. That's exactly what I was getting to. When you're managing people and it's painful, it's because the purpose of the business isn't strong enough. This is the thing that people don't realize. They don't have I've always hired good people and then directed them to the goals of the business. And they're so motivated by those goals and that mission that I don't need to manage them. And I think that's what you need. I wouldn't delay this initiative that you're talking about. I would speed it up. I can even hook you up with an amazing charity that's really well funded, that basically is looking to give homeless people jobs. They're called BEAM, BEAM. Have you heard of them?
No, not really.
Yeah, so I know the founder, and it's absolutely brilliant as an organization. They help homeless people get back into the workforce, and they're doing amazing things. And you partnering with them, and you talk about raising money, they've raised millions. And to be honest, I think that this is what you need to do. You need to speed it up, not slow it down. You say maybe later. I say do it now. Make it part of what you're doing now. And I know, maybe it'll take a bit of time to make it real, especially when you're perhaps, like you say, kind of caught at the moment and struggling. But I can see it in you. You also need an energy lift. I mean, it's 9 p.m. at night. You're in your office still. You look like you're 6 months into 2021.
Well, yeah, I get to that. To be honest, it's not just about the job itself, about the hours that I'm putting here. Is more, well, don't know how to say. I really see it falling apart. I mean, back in October, November, I was looking at 25 guys out there every single day working. I mean, I could see the business scaling and getting where it should be. Few weeks after, days after, the numbers they literally start dropping. Some people, they literally change the jobs. Others, they been rejected by the clients for whatever reasons. Yeah. Now I'm standing with 9-10 guys out, and next week I'll have, well, one of the drivers is finishing tonight, So next week around this time, I'll be looking at maybe 5 or 6 guys still out there, still working. And that's...
Can I ask you, do the people that are presently working with you understand the mission you have for the business long term? Have you ever told anybody?
No.
You need to put it on the wall, my friend. You need to write it all over your wall tonight. This is why we're here. You know, and people will move around and people will jump. But, you know, if people are working for you and they see that what you're actually trying to do by them working with you is they make a living, but you're also helping those that are suffering right now, you watch their attitudes change. Right now, they're looking at you as someone just trying to make money, right? And so they're trying.
We are the recruitment business in the country, isn't it?
Well, not yours.
No.
Not yours. And so there you go. You are different.
And I think, Simon, I'm trying to be slightly different in terms of the whole recruitment process. I know, obviously, about other agencies. They do charge a fortune to clients for their services, which is fine. But then, you know, the way I say it, when you charge a client, you know, maybe 25, 30 pounds per hour for a class 1 driver, and you pay the driver 11, 12 pounds per hour or whatever. I mean, there is a huge difference between those two figures.
I understand.
And that's where I'm trying to come in. That's where I'm trying to make a change in the industry. I'm not charging an arm and a leg a client to supply a driver, but then I'm trying to keep everything in balance. Because from my point of view, obviously, I could easily do that and make more money just like that. But that's not the point for me to having the business. That's not how I'm going to grow. That's not how I'm going to be known around the industry. I could make maybe good money for a while, but then sooner or later, those kind of things, they will come up to light. I know about some agencies, they do that, and they just work on the premises. You know what? We're going to keep doing it. For how long it's going to work, it's going to work.
Well, I can't help but think that, you know, you need to make this purpose the center of it all. And I think you'll find that your people that are moving around will move less and that you'll be uplifted. And I also think once you have this goal, there were all sorts of, someone just mentioned on my feed that, you know, reach out to the local communities. If you're helping the local homeless, you're going to get help from the local community, and all sorts of interesting things will fall into place for you, I think. So I really want you to kind of write it on the wall. You know, you've got a grey wall behind you. You know, it feels like the business is quite grey right now. You've got a grey suit on, grey wall behind you. You're clearly very professional, very serious, but I think actually your emotions shone through for me for a second, and that's so important in business. People always say don't take business personally. Absolutely wrong. I think business is totally personal. And so I want you to kind of, you know, I even want you to sit up right now, you know, sit up, breathe a bit, you know, breathe in, you know, like, yeah, see, you're smiling. I need to see that, because I know, you know, what you're doing is not easy, but if you put this purpose at the front of it, everything will change, right?
The thing is, Simon, the way I'm planning to do it, well, it's not just about helping those guys to get the jobs. I'm even thinking moving forward to help them with a house, to try to find them some spaces. I mean, I do have lots of ideas moving forward, but for me, in order to achieve all that and help those guys out, not just here around Northampton, I'm talking about the whole country. Obviously, I won't be able to start everywhere in one go, but once I start the process, I'm planning to get all the homeless people around Northampton area sorted out with jobs, with a house. I would say maybe helping them out to get back into the society.
I think you know, I can think of so many organizations. So apart from Beam, I'm also talking to a property agency, and I'm looking to invest in and support. And their business model is going to be that right now, Knight Frank and Savills, I guess you know these agencies, right? These property agencies that sell property. They when they sell a property, the money goes to shareholders, right? The money goes to people that have already got lots of money. And so the whole idea is that in the future, this new property agency, every time we sell a property, all the profit will go to solving the homelessness crisis.
Nice.
So I think you could work with organizations like that. I think you can work with the charity I just mentioned, Beam, who are helping homeless people go back into work. They'll support you. I think equally organizations like I just mentioned that are starting to build out, there's a lot of good things happening in a very dark time in our history. A lot of people are realizing that there's importance to actually get out there and help people, not just make money, and that those that are doing okay need to step up and help more. And so I think you're one of these people, Ovi. I really love your idea. And again, I'm going to say it, you've shocked me a little bit because I thought you had a business that you're just trying to make money and it's not working quite right. But I know for sure if you just open up your heart, what you just said, you put it on the wall, you make it front of center. The 6 people that are presently working with you, when they drop off their keys or come back to you tonight or whatever, they're going to see a difference and they're going to go tell other people. And that's going to change the dynamic. It's not just about how much money they can make from you. It's about how they can support you and all make money as well as help people out there that need it.
Yes, Simon, but the way I see it, because all that is going to involve me to invest, because sooner or later, I will need to find ways to help those people, and that's not going to come free. I'll need to find a way to invest, to help them out with the papers. I'm not even sure how I'm going to do it, because the main problem with those guys are obviously they are living on the streets for days, weeks, months, years now. They weren't going to have, most of them, family whatsoever. They weren't going to have any friends, maybe between themselves. They won't have any sort of documents. For me, as a recruitment agency, to employ someone, obviously, I need to follow up some rules. I need to take the documents, especially when I send drivers to the clients. Even warehouse operatives. In terms of warehouse operatives, is not much going on because there are, let's say, unskilled. The requirements are slightly less, but still, legally, I need to have those documents. I need to do the checks. I need to do lots of other things when I'm actually employing someone, even if it's just a casual worker. So I'm thinking how I'm going to be able to ever help those guys without documents. And then in terms of housing, again, I need to spend some money. I need to spend, and that's where the main problem comes, because right now, my business it doesn't do great. It doesn't make enough so I can spend, because how I'm thinking to do it, the problem with the documents, I'll think about it later and I'll try to find some help to sort the documents problems out. But then I'm thinking about the houses. So my plan is to grow the business, start making enough money to, not for myself, because obviously I'm not looking to make, let's say, £100,000 a week as other recruiters do. I'm going to try to keep it short and nice and easy for me. And then everything else that goes after that minimum that I need to support the business, and obviously my salary and everything that includes. Anything that goes after that, I'm trying to find a way to literally build the houses, buy the lands, find a solution, maybe even find a solution to rent the properties, and then slowly start to move those guys in. I could even put something in place moving forward.
A lot of homeless people, the problem actually, ironically, isn't that they don't have somewhere to stay. It's the mental health care that's the major issue.
I know.
So finding them somewhere to stay is definitely important. But I think it's more about, there is a big part of it is supporting on the mental health side. Now, look, Ovi, I'm trying to read between the lines of what you're saying. And a few people are saying it to me online, like, you've got a cash flow problem by the sounds of it, right?
Yeah.
But you're then talking about buying homes for the homeless. And I don't think you need to go that far. I think you can just find them jobs and find them, get them back on their feet. And of course, if there's support mechanisms out there, which I know already there are through programs like Beam, to help people with their mental health, and frankly, to give them somewhere to stay. You don't need to be buying houses. Not right now. That's way too far. I think you can start just by, you know, building a business that makes profit so you can afford to support the homeless. And ironically, if you have that as your core mission, support the homeless, you will make profit because these drivers will want to work for you. They've all had their hard times, and you want the ones that understand. I also think that the homeless community will also try to support you. There's all sorts of people. I was homeless for 5 days, so I do have a small window of understanding of what it's all about. Very small. I sometimes feel like I'm a little bit like there's only 5 days homeless. It's not enough to say that I've understood what being homeless is like. But you know, I think that for what you're doing, you need to change gear a bit. Stop overthinking. Are you a very analytical person?
Yeah.
You're overthinking it a bit. And maybe you need to get a partner. Have you got a partner in this business? Yeah. I think you need to write down. I think you need to write down what your skills are and what you're missing. The other thing I would do, as well as put my mission on the wall behind you, is I would consider getting a partner to help you. Now, it might be that you end up, you know, 50-50 equity, but I'd rather have 50% of a successful business than 100% of a failure business.
I tried that, Simon, but the guy that I had, well, supposedly was one of my friends, but turned out to be a friend. Well, actually, I would say I was more like his friend, and looks like he never was my friend. When it's about business and money, I had it as exactly as you mentioned, with 50.
We've all had that, Ovi. We've all had that, you know, like one failure with the wrong person doesn't mean the strategy is wrong. It means the person you brought on board was wrong. Actually, I personally, and I'm not saying don't hire friends, but I've gone out there, I've hired best in class. I brought best in class into the business. Then they become my friends, right? You know, you don't need to find a friend to bring in. That's not necessarily the best way. You know, go find the best person that has exactly the skills you don't have, wants to support the homeless in the same way that you do, and form a strong partnership. You know, I have had partnerships. I've started 18 businesses personally. Yeah. So, and in those 18 businesses, of every different type of partnership there is, and I can tell you that some partnerships have been brilliant and some haven't. That doesn't mean the concept of partnership is not right for you. I think it is. I can see you and where your weaknesses are just by looking at you and talking to you for briefly now. I can see that you need a partner. You need someone to support you in what you're doing. You can't carry the burden of this business on your own. You've got skills, and you need to write down the ones you don't have, whatever they are. And you need to put it out there in the universe, whether it's on LinkedIn, do a post, or on Facebook, or post it in some groups, say what your mission is and who you're looking for to help you do it. And start interviewing people, right? Forget your bad experience one time with one friend. That does not mean that you shouldn't have a partner. You cannot do it on your own, Ovi. You cannot.
No. I mean, even if...
I think this can solve problems as well, because I have brought partners into my business. If you've got a cash flow problem, I have brought partners into my business who have invested in my business. So they've come in, believed in my mission, invested in the business, often matching my investment. I'm sure you put money in, right? And then that's helped grow the business. So you could solve 2 problems in one here. So, you know, I don't want to be short because I've got someone else waiting for me now. But you know, my advice is write that mission on the wall. You know, you have never said it out loud. You need to say it to everybody you meet. It needs to be on the wall in your office to inspire you and anyone that works with you. And then I think you should start looking for someone to support you. And don't think one bad experience with one partner means you should never have a partner. Put that out there. Get interviewing people. I know you can make it work, Ovi. You just need to push yourself a bit.
Yeah, but I don't really know how I'm gonna do that, because I don't know. Yeah, I'll think about it and see how it goes. But I'm pretty sure once I'm gonna start the process, it will always gonna come down to the same story. They will want in, but they need to be on the salary.
That's not always the case. You're making assumptions. Your subconscious is telling you something that is not true. I'm telling you from experience, if your business has purpose, People don't always need salary from day one. That's a huge amount of money. And frankly, if you do it right, if you believe in the purpose, you mentioned earlier, you've got savings, right?
Yes.
You've got savings. So in a way, also, you're not fully committing, right? Maybe that's because you don't fully believe. So you can't expect other people to fully commit. So you've got to kind of turn it all around a little bit, or frankly, give it up and go do something else. You know, but if I'm telling you right now, people are out there right now that are willing to help you if you have a big enough purpose and they're not money driven. I'm one of them. I'm proof. I'm here with you now. I'm not sitting with my family at 9 o'clock at night or watching Netflix chilling out. I'm giving you time for free, right? There are people out there that are willing to do that when you have a big mission like you have. I knew nothing about your mission tonight. It's not on any of your materials. It's not on any of your website stuff. So I've heard it for the first time tonight and I'm inspired. You need to inspire yourself and then find a partner, inspire them. Stop assuming that they're going to want big salaries. Stop assuming that, right? Just have a conversation about the potential of the business to not only make profit, but do good. Have interviews with people. You will find a lot of people out there that can help you that are not going to need a big salary. You have to believe me. And if you don't believe me, you're going to carry on carrying the world on your shoulders, which is what a lot of people are saying to me you've got right now. You're taking way too much on yourself. And so you need help.
Yeah, fair enough. Now, well, I'll see where I'm going to find it and how I'm going to go about it, because definitely I need to move on and do something about it.
Okay, first step then, let me give you some practical steps, homework. Write up what you don't do well. Write up what you do well. Then write a job description for the dream person that you want to hire. And then ask the universe for that person. Ask the universe these days means post it on LinkedIn, post it on Facebook, post it on Twitter, tell your friends, and then start interviewing people. And see if I'm wrong. See if everyone you meet says, no, I don't care about the homeless, mate, and I want money. The human race is not like that. Only Trump voters are like that. Kind of joking, Trump voters.
And Boris voters as well.
Yeah, voters, but I'm joking. The point is there are, I honestly believe 52% of the world is definitely kind and nice. You just got to put yourself out there to find them, okay?
Okay.
I don't know how you get on. I'm sorry, I've got to jump to the next person because Tim has been a while, and so please let me know if we can help you further. I'm sorry that I have to rush a little bit.
That's fine. Thanks, Simon.
I look forward to seeing you help hundreds of thousands of homeless people. Okay.
Hope so.
Big a task, my friend.
Yeah. Okay. No worries. Thank you.
All right. Take it easy, mate. Bye. Hi, Tim. You got to turn your mic off, mate. You got to turn your mic off on StreamYard. You on StreamYard? You got to turn the mic off. Hey guys, so I'm
myself and speak to Simon.
How are you, mate?
Good, bud. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah. So, what's going on? How was your New Year so far?
New Year so far, well, it's just the same as last year. Just carry on, just doing the business. Haven't really stopped. Really, I've had a little bit of time off with the kids, but
did you have Christmas Day to do anything fun?
But I had Christmas Day on my own.
Oh, okay.
Moved into the new house on the 22nd. On Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, I was just sat here on my own.
Right.
I basically drank a whole bottle of wine during one live session on TikTok.
I saw you live on Christmas Eve. I was like, I should go and say hello, but I promised my wife I wouldn't be on the phone. I wouldn't be on the phone for a couple of days, but yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that hang out on their own on Christmas Day, right? Especially in this day and age with COVID. I mean, what are you going to do anyway?
Yeah, and also just moved to a new area as well, and it was tier 4 at the time, so there's absolutely nothing to do. So I was just sat here on my own, going on nice.
But how's business been? How are things going? Well, actually, first of all, do you mind? Because I'm actually broadcasting this not just on TikTok. Who everyone knows you on TikTok. I already did a competition. Who am I speaking to tonight? And everyone said you and Mark Tilbury. So you are famous. But my audience on YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, they don't know you. So can you do me a favor and just quickly introduce what you're doing and who you are, and then we can get into what's going on.
Okay. Yeah. Fine. Well, I'm an entrepreneur who a few years ago, I've semi-retired throughout my 40s, and I decided to start up again in a completely new field. I've been working previously. My businesses were in IT, IT services, IT sales, but it's all B2B. And I decided that I'd give up that sort of comfortable lifestyle and income to pursue a dream, and that was to try and grow a global watch brand. And that fulfilled a creative ambition I had, which I'd never used. And it was really, I did a post the other day on TikTok. And I think the main reason I decided to start up all over again and go for it right from the beginning, you know, start from the beginning again, was that I had a fear of regret, that I didn't want to get to a certain age in my life and think, I should have done that. Mm. And I hadn't felt that, although I've had different various levels of success and I had a very comfortable lifestyle. I just felt I hadn't really fulfilled my full ambition. And I sort of thought, sod it, you know, let's go for it. Mm. So what I did was I started originally with a partner with this, and he was supposed to be working it, and I was supposed to be just sort of guiding from the sidelines. And the more I sort of saw it, the more I got intrigued and interested by it. So a couple of years ago, I decided to give up my income and my previous business to concentrate on this full time. So at the moment, the situation of the business is that in the first couple of years that we traded, we hardly turned over anything. And then I decided 2 years ago that, you know, there had to be a strategy, and the strategy was to get investment. So I took a year building the business, building the brand. Everything was around the brand. Build a brand, build a brand, build a story around the brand, build the personality to Hagley West. So I did that, and I did that a lot as well through cricket influencers and the cricketing community, because that's something I was linked to. So I built up the story. I then went for the biggest cricketer of them all, a guy called Chris Gale. If you're a cricketer, you're going to know who Chris Gale is. He's one of the biggest names in the world. And I just thought, I need the icing on the cake for the story, that it's been built up by a club cricketer through the cricketing community. And now we've got the biggest guy in the world as a business partner. So I basically stalked him. Wherever he was, I turned up. I got contacts. It was a long process of going through networking with other cricketers, flying to different places around the world, meeting different people, just building a story. And for that 1 year, that first year, I wasn't bothered about turnover of the business. All I was bothered about was building the story, building the brand, building that personality through it. And then I signed Chris Gale as a business partner. And the whole reason then was I had the story to go to crowdfunding and to go to Crowdcube. Decided to sell equity through Crowdcube for crowdfunding, which is I think it's a better way to raise more money than selling product through crowdfunding. That's a real hit and miss. And also, I think if you want to sell or do crowdfunding through product, you have to have something really unique. Mm. You know, something really that hasn't been done before. You know, and watches have. So I built the brand, I built the audience, I built what I call a tribe. And then through social media, and I'd never used social media really before this. I was new to Instagram, and I kept on selling the story and what we were doing for that whole year. We got to the crowdfunding exercise, and we broke the world record for our sector, raising a huge amount of money, which meant then that we could then implement a stronger strategy, a stronger marketing strategy, stronger content strategy, and really build that brand. Would also help with the development of the products as well. So the situation where I'm at now is that 6 months ago, we relaunched. And it's been a good 6 months. There's been ups and downs. There's things that have gone terribly wrong, things that have gone right. And the situation at the moment is that for the last month, we haven't been running any ads on Facebook because we've had a few issues because of the way it was set up 6-7 months ago. That's come back to haunt us now. But in the last month, we have sold just as many watches as we had done with the advertising, and mainly through TikTok. So people reaching out and watching it through TikTok. And the whole idea and what I'm trying to do on TikTok is put over the brand, put over the ethos, put over the personality. And the reason for that is to get that emotional attachment for the audience, for the product, to get them making that buying decision. But on Friday, we're going to start up the ads again, and we've got massive plans for this year as well. So that's basically...
It's a great story, and I'll put the link to Tim's company if you want to buy into his story and buy one of his amazing watches. You can go to the links below. I'll put them in the broadcast afterwards. But yeah, Tim, I love your story. I mean, we know each other from TikTok. It's kind of amazing. I think the last, I guess, couple of months we've been getting to know each other, and I'm a big fan of what you're doing. I think often we've been joking with each other that we're accidentally copying each other's content because we think the same. I think about enjoying the journey, right?
Yeah, that's what it's all about. I mean, do you know? And I'm not sort of blowing smoke up your arse here now, Simon. You are the only entrepreneur who I sort of feel connected to on TikTok or through this, because there's so many so-called entrepreneurs on TikTok. I think are putting out the wrong message. Saying it's all about money. Yes. It's too much on Bitcoin, Forex, this sort of trading. My belief is that if you're going to have a business, you build something, make something, create something, inspire someone, leave a legacy, have a purpose for doing it and going forward. And one of the things, and my son said it to me as well. He was saying to me just earlier just how much he likes you and likes your content. And he just said, he said, you're the first person that he's heard that says and thinks exactly the same way as I do. So it's nice to have that connection.
Well, that's really nice of you to say, and it means a lot. And I think that the thing is, I do see that a lot of the entrepreneurs that are quite popular online often are basically funding that kind of marketing by selling people courses that are crap. And selling this kind of dream of what entrepreneurship is about, which is, for some reason being sold as sit on a computer, sell some stuff on Amazon FBA and make millions and sit back and drive your BMW around. And anyone like you or me that's actually built a business, it's actually nothing to do with that. It's about, as you say often, and your business is about this, the journey. It really is about enjoying the process of building a business and learning, building the relationships you build. And I do think that we need to keep doing our organic thing and sharing our thing and our knowledge, because we've got to break through and let people know that entrepreneurship is so much fun, but it's also a lot of work. And it's definitely not about making money. And anyone that goes into it just to make money, they come unstuck because I see a lot of people that are talking about financial freedom, for example, on TikTok, and they're just sitting in the corner of a room looking at a laptop all day, telling you about how to manipulate the market and buy Bitcoin. You have no influence. You buy Bitcoin, you have no influence over whether Bitcoin's going to make it or not. You're not smart if you buy Bitcoin. That doesn't prove anything. You're hoping that something out there works for you as opposed to making it work for you like you do, Tim.
Well, this is another thing as well, and it's society as a whole, isn't it? That somebody wants to get something for nothing. They want a quick fix. They want easy cash, easy money. It's more or less on the principle why the multi-level marketing sort of pyramid schemes are so successful, because they sell the hope of you having a better life. They sell the hope and the dream of this, and I frown upon that so highly. I mean, to be honest, I wish they were made illegal, because
they have been. They just come up rebranded, right? I mean, multi-level marketing in my mind is just pyramid scheme rebranded.
That's it. They changed the payment structure. It's
exactly the same concept, which is I've got product, I can't sell it, so I sell it to my friend. My friend then can't sell it, so he sells it to his friend, and everyone's promised some massive return. And yet, quite right. I'm surprised. I mean, I think the problem is partly, ironically, the very social media that you and I are now popular on is the very problem itself, because people are seeing like Lamborghinis and people in big houses, and they somehow feel like that is the goal, as opposed to like the actual journey being the goal, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly it. It's exactly it. You know, once you fall in love with the journey, once you're grateful for where you are, every stage of it, you know, you're reaching your goals on a daily basis.
Yeah.
It's true. It's that's, you know, it's a link to happiness. I mean, what is a goal with? What are financial goals anyway? They just never make sense to me, because you can always earn more.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, where does it end?
I mean, that's the thing about financial freedom. I mean, I've done a few TikToks on this lately, and people throwing around like, you know, be financially free. And I'm like, actually, if you really love what you do, you're already successful. I think that's the biggest mistake. They don't enjoy what they're doing. And if you can do that, then financially free or not, if you love what you're doing, it doesn't really matter. If you then earn a living from it and you can pay your bills, that's success. You know, like, it's not about like sitting in a dark room, looking at a computer, buying Bitcoin and Tesla and hustling and hoping that you make a load of money and that's the end. That's not the end, right? That I know a lot of people that have made a lot of money who are very miserable, and often the way they made their money made them miserable. You know, and so I think that's another angle. I mean, that might be, I've not done any content around this wording exactly, which is the way you make your money can ultimately determine whether or not you're happy at the end of it. I think there's something in it. You know, I see so many people that make money in, I mean, I have in my area that I live in, there's quite a few wealthy people, and I can almost tell by how their expression is, how they earn a living, you know? That's one thing I like about coming on your lives and listening to you. You know, despite the hardship, you always look happy.
It's enjoyable. I love it. I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't love it. You know, what's the point in doing something you don't enjoy?
Yeah, but
I can never get that. I never understand that.
That sounds like it should be common sense, that statement, but it's so uncommon now for that message to get through to people, especially young people. I mean, now having spoken to your son, I can see, you know, what a great father he's got, because he's got his head on his shoulders. He's doing something he loves. But how many kids are pressurized into doing what their parents want them to do?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I tried when George was younger to make him into the next England cricket superstar. That didn't work out.
There's still time. There's still time.
He can still make a comeback.
Cricketer. He could play a famous cricketer in a film. I can see that happening for sure.
I think so. That's the closest. That'd be good fun.
Tim Dunn is an actor, by the way, guys, in case it's an inside joke you don't get. But
yeah. One of the things, I've got quite a few people watching me. I've got my TikTok going here as well, so people are watching on the side here, and they're putting up a few things. One of the things I wanted to ask you, actually, I think there's a lot of people that would be very interested in this, and aspiring entrepreneurs. You being an angel investor, I just want to ask you a question about that, if I could.
Of course.
I've written down a few notes. So I've actually done a bit of preparation for this.
These chats now, aren't they? They're getting serious. I'm ready.
Yeah, no. When I say preparation, it's literally 5 minutes before I came on. I was going to ask you, what do you look for in a business when you're looking to invest? What are the ticks and what are the red flags?
Yeah, I mean, this is a question I get asked a lot, of course. I've invested in 68 startups, so I have invested in quite a few businesses. I think over the years, my criteria has changed. When I was younger and less experienced, I would look at the idea as important, and I would consider whether or not the idea was workable. And then as I got more experienced and learned a bit more in business, I started realizing that some businesses that ideas weren't great, but they had a brilliant person running the business, could make it a brilliant business. So now, of course, it sounds cheesy, but you know, I'm investing in people, not ideas. I'm ideas agnostic. I mean, I like businesses. I mean, there was one thing I think in the last few years that's become a criteria for me that's more personal than anything else. I'm not saying this is good advice for anyone looking to invest in startups or for anyone that, you know, looking to raise money, but this is my own personal criteria now, and that is that the business itself has a purpose. It's not just trying to make money. I think I might have mentioned to you before, but I'm looking at investing in a business that's looking to kind of replace Seville's or Knight Frank or these property agency businesses. And, you know, and the model is quite, you know, successful even today, even with technology companies creeping in. Seville's made $110 million profit last year. You know, it's big money buying and selling houses, but it's a bit soulless. So the agency I'm looking at is looking to reinvent the model, and basically every time a house is sold, they'll give that money to solving the homelessness crisis. And so they'll pay people properly, just like Knight Frank and Seville kind of do. And they'll have a proper, you know, structural business where it will sell your property. But I think by doing that, a couple of things happen. First of all, the people working in the business suddenly have a purpose beyond just trying to make money. And they're working for something with purpose. I think the people listing the property would rather give it to you if they could. If you can sell it, as long as you can sell it, they'd rather give it to you than the other guys, because they don't lose anything, but they still contribute to fixing society's problems. And then the people buying the property would rather buy it from you because of what you're doing as a business model. So I really think those sorts of businesses now, to me, are the future. And if you look at the younger generation, like your son, I know, you know, they're very purpose driven. Despite all the criticisms of the younger generation, they're more aware, more conscious than ever. You know, sustainability and the environment and all these things do actually matter more than ever to the next generation. And so I think those are the sorts of companies people are going to want to work for too. So for me now, it's definitely the person. You know, like I said to you, Tim, very honestly, when I spoke to you, you know, the first time I think I spoke to you, like a watch company on its own doesn't necessarily excite me, but a watch company with your vision and journey and mission behind it does. And I think that's important, right? The purpose, the person, and then I feel like I should have another P really here, but definitely, you know, the vision of the business is so important, right?
Oh, 100%. I think one of the things with the watch business, I remember when we first started discussing it, the guy who was starting it with just wanted to buy some sort of off-the-shelf watches and stamp a name on and flog them on the internet. It was just soulless kind of, you know, I suppose he was a product of watching people do FBA and watching people just do these soulless businesses where they're just trading. But the whole purpose behind it is, you know, to build a brand, build a brand behind it, because that's where the value is. That's where the enjoyment is, you know, putting it over. I get some of the great comments. People say, you know, what motivates me or what interests me in this, the process of creating and designing a watch, going through, you know, making sure you got the right manufacturers, make sure you get the right parts, make sure you got the right materials, testing the market, all that kind of thing, and then actually holding that watch for the first time after it's come through the manufacturing process is such a great feeling. You're actually making something real. But then the other even better feeling is that when you go and see somebody actually wear it and you see somebody actually enjoying what you've done. So that whole process is so fun. And things like, as you said, trading or staying at a screen for Forex, there isn't that.
But a lot of people might never even realize that unless they go through that experience of creating a business. You know, I know you had a question about brand. You sent me a message today asking about brands. We can talk about that, but I think building a brand is so fulfilling, and that's what I just met yesterday on my live a kid who's doing Amazon FBA, and he's done a brilliant job building it up. But it's got no legs for itself long term. He can't sell it to someone else, for example. There's no brand value in it, you know. So he's just built a business, not a brand. And I think that's definitely one thing. Don't you agree that people are missing when they're hearing these get rich quick?
Definitely, 100%. The one thing I would say about Amazon FBA, it's, you know, business in its purest form is trading. It's buying something cheap, selling it for more. It's been since year dots. You know, thousands of years people have been doing this. And they've also been wheeling their carts down to a market square, but now they do it through, you know, technological advancements. So it's kind of like the way I look at Amazon FBA, it's the business that Del Boy would be doing if he was going now rather than going down the market. But saying that, it's business in its purest form. And I think for young people starting off, if they want to just get some experience of what it's like, business experience, I don't think it's a bad thing. For that, for actual growth, I mean, for someone my age, your age, it's not something that interests us it's in the slightest bit. But I think for somebody starting their entrepreneurial journey and they just want to get used to knowing how business works, how fulfillment of orders work, how negotiating and talking to suppliers works, sorting out a supply chain, and also gaining that experience, gaining that what's the word I'm looking for? Gain that experience.
Entrepreneurial bug. You can get it through that. I mean, I said exactly the same thing to this guy yesterday, Tim. Exactly. I can send you the recording. I said exactly the same thing. It's great that he's done it, but I think there is a part of me that also wants to educate people about. A lot of people go into it. A lot of people get trapped in it too. By the way, because for every success story, there's 10 people that have failed in it, of course. And in part because it's been pitched as this get rich quick thing. I think that's what I don't like about it. It's how it's been pitched to people. But as a training wheel exercise of learning about business, couldn't agree with you more. Go work on a market stall. I worked in a butcher's shop. You want to know how to build relationships and sell stuff. I was working in a butcher's shop at 13 years old. This is just brilliant, grassroots, privately owned butcher shop, knew every single person's name in the village. It was just amazing. Definitely going and getting that experience. I couldn't agree with you more. But again, I also want to keep people educated about, the bigger picture, because also some people do spend 2 or 3 years of their life building that up, only to realize a bit too late that it's just a market stall. It doesn't necessarily translate into the promise they were given when they bought the course about it.
Well, which comes on to the point which I texted you about earlier about the IP protection and trademarking, and the importance of ownership of what you have.
Yeah.
Like you say, if you ever wanted to exit Amazon FBA, you can't, because it's activity driven. There's no ownership of product. There's no ownership of brand. I was chatting, actually. I did a live last night with a young entrepreneur. He's only 18 years old, and he does sanitizing products, which he's buying in from China, and he's selling them. He can't sell them on Amazon because he can't afford to buy them in enough quantity to compete with other people on Amazon. So he's selling them independently. And one of the things I spoke to him about was, if you want to build this as a business, what you should be doing is going to commercial properties, commercial businesses, and saying the service of sanitizing their properties. And then at least there's an ownership of service, because you'll never be able to own the product. So this leads on to IP protection. I have trademarked, obviously, all my businesses, logos, different things. I've trademarked Love Your Journey. I can't trademark the actual term Love Your Journey, but I've trademarked I'll show you the logo with the hashtag and the way it's written. That's actually owned by Hayden Media, and Hayden Media licensed it to Hagley West. The other thing that you spoke about, and this is something now which is important really for both of us, and you mentioned that you've done it, is trademarking yourself, protecting your own name. So that's what I was looking into today, and I just wanted to, because you've gone through it and done it, I just want to ask you, how did you categorize yourself? Because you have to categorize yourself. What areas and regions did you cover your name in? Because one of the things with a business, I mean, at the moment, you've got, when I look at my business, I've got Hagley West is a brand. I've got the Love Your Journey slogan to it, which is a brand and an ethos in its own right. And we've got the Tim Hayden Entrepreneur, which is the brand pushing it. Now, as Hagley West goes further down the road, they will separate. They will separate more. But at the moment, there's a lot of overlap. We're forcing everything into one funnel. But I want to ask you how you went about protecting your own, Simon Squibb brand.
Yeah, I mean, just for backstory for people listening, I have a lot of experience in building businesses, and some of my failures have been around where I built a business up and only to discover that the name of the business is trademarked. And just quickly to explain, for a lot of businesses, people think if they've got the company name, let's say Simon Squibb Limited, and then they've got simonsquibb.com, the URL, they assume that they're covered. And they're missing an important piece, which is the third piece of structuring out a business, which is the trademark of the brand, of the name. And so I built a business up called Foodie, Foodie, and it did really well. And then someone popped out of the woodwork and said, hold on a minute, I own that trademark, and you have to give us all the money you've ever made. And legally, they were in the right. And so there's something called passing off, basically. So from that moment onwards, I've always trademarked any business brand that I've been involved in, and I've always made sure before I invest in any businesses, they've got the trademark secured. But you know, your question, Tim. First of all, I kind of want to put a bit of the structure of the trademark licensing bit, because that can also get very complicated later. When trademark registering, generally for a company, you should trademark register within the company that's using the trademark. Right? If you have another company that owns it and you're licensing it out, I don't know if there's two different shareholders or two different partners, but it can get very messy down the line, because one company may have built its name on the back of the trademark that you're licensing to them. So just keep an eye on that for later. Unless they're the same shareholders, you should be all right. If they're different shareholders, you can get into trouble a bit later on that. So just watch out on that. As far as actually categorizing is concerned, the key, I think, with trademark, so it doesn't end up costing you a fortune, is trademark your name in the market that you trade in. Now, you have a little bit of a problem, and I'm a big fan of your TikTok, so I know you're selling watches all over the world now. And so there is a little bit of a gray area with yours, but wherever the money is coming in, so let's say you're invoicing out of the UK, you've got to own it in the UK. Now, when it comes to categorization on trademarks in the UK, I am no trademark lawyer. I hired someone to do this all for me in the UK. So I just caveat by saying I'm not a trademark lawyer, but I basically protected my name within the categories that I have products. So internet, publishing. Yeah. So I have a book, right? I'm on the internet. You know, and categories, I think I've ended up personally trademarking my name in 4 categories. And these are areas that I'm involved in: media and investment. I'm an investor, right? Finance. So then, and my main reason actually for trademarking is not to sue anyone that uses my name. If someone wants to go out there and be Simon Squibb, good luck to them, I say. You know, I'll be very unlikely to sue them for using my trademark. What I'm really doing is making sure that no one else can use my trademark and then sue me for its usage.
Yeah.
So for example, I just trademarked a new brand I'm putting out there called Simon Says. And Simon Says was a game once, a very popular game, right? You probably remember it. We're that age, the circles of the colors on it, right?
Yeah.
But what was interesting is when I trademarked it, an American company tried to sue me for trademarking the name, saying that they actually own the trademark when they didn't. Anyway, the point is, by getting a trademark, you can also flush out any potential problems that you can have. I eventually got the trademark. I now own the trademark for Simon Says. But the point is that, you know, you really do it to protect your businesses from outside disruption. Because when I got the letter from the lawyer cease and desist on Foodie, that actually almost completely killed the business.
Yeah.
It's totally underestimated as a seismic potential disruptor to a business. So anyway, for yourself personally, Tim, I think just register it in a few categories, about £500 to trademark per category, roughly. I mean, if you do it yourself direct, I think it's like £200 for the filing. It's not huge money, and it's worth having it just for peace of mind. I don't know if I've answered your question enough, but that's how I do it.
I can ask you another question on that. Did you set up a Simon Squibb Limited, or did you trademark it as an individual?
I trademark it as an individual. Yeah,
that's exactly the route I was going to go.
Yeah, because the other thing, I mean, my personal name is my personal asset, right? I have a business called The Purposeful Project. The Purposeful Project owns brands like the Good Luck Club, which is the podcast part of the Purposeful Project, right? That's all trademarked and owned by the company.
Yeah.
But my own personal name, I kept in my own personal name, right? Because that's never going to change. I'm always going to be Simon Squibb, hopefully, unless I witness a crime and then need to go into the witness protection program. Hopefully that never happens. But in theory, I'm always going to be Simon Squibb. So I need that, I need that trademark, and I own it under my own. If I put it under the company name, and later, for whatever reason, I get partners or investors in that business, they're going to own that trademark, right? So then that doesn't make sense.
Okay, good.
I had a friend in Hong Kong called Harland, and he opened a restaurant up called Harland, and they trademarked it when they set up the restaurant, and then he fell out with his business partner, and now he can't use his own name on any restaurant that he does. He can never call a restaurant Harland. He always has to, be creative around it. He can never use his own name ever again because he trademarked it in the company under the restaurant that he opened in Hong Kong. There's actually a restaurant in Hong Kong called Harland, and it's not owned by Harland. It has
it's like the McDonald's story, isn't it?
Something like that, yeah. And actually, Harland ended up making about $40 million out of the whole issue. But the point is, it's definitely messy. And good example of the McDonald's story. Yeah.
The other thing, one of the other things I want to ask you about, because I've got experience in this bit, is I asked you about what you look for in a business that you want to invest in. What do you look for when choosing a business partner?
No, that's a really good question, Matt.
I've got some very strong thoughts on this.
Yeah, I put top of the list alignment on moral code. So do they have the same core values as me? Like, for example, I'm not just saying this. My wife's actually in the background. We were business partners for 15 years in the company. We shook hands on the deal. Like, I'm going to do this. You're going to do that. We shook hands. The end. Right? A bit of paper doesn't mean anything. I've had bits of paper, legal documents. My lawyer always says paper will always accept ink. If you're in business with the wrong person, those legal documents will not help you. It will just cost you a lot of money to try and enforce them, and then they're often you won't win. Right? So I always look for the moral code in someone. I look for that trust, that belief, that honesty, that integrity. And I've been lucky enough to work with my wife, and I learned about her in business. We had a difficult time in 2003 in Hong Kong. SARS hit, which was coronavirus 1.0. We almost went bankrupt. We couldn't make payroll. We were in real trouble. But my wife always wanted to make sure we paid everybody before we ever paid ourselves. And we downsized. We reduced our lives because that was her moral code, and it aligned with mine. I will always pay people first. But I've seen it in situations where I know people that are married to people. They don't know who that person is because at work they're ruthless, and they won't know who that person is until they divorce them. But I think people don't spend enough time figuring out what the moral code of someone is. And I personally fine-tuned my way of finding out about people's moral code. But that's very important. That's my number one. And then sense of humor, bizarrely. I like to have a good laugh with people,
Yeah, I think it's quite fair. I think I'm not just saying. I think they're my top two. It's the personality, be able to get on with someone, because you do spend a lot of time with them, and you've got to have fun. You've got to enjoy it. Moral code is very high. I find it hard though, because I'm quite a trusting person. So sometimes the moral code doesn't come out until after you started working with them, which I've discovered on a few occasions. I've had probably 3 partners steal. 3 partners steal money. It's a horrible feeling when you realise.
Yeah, the other side of it is that's all part of the journey, isn't it? Like, and I think there isn't. I've had that too, but then you also appreciate the partners that have been good. Sometimes if you had a good partner, like my one of my brothers, I won't name him because he might tell me off. He married an awesome person, but he didn't know it, and he was too young. He was 19 years old when he got married, and he basically ended up treating her really badly. And I think it's because he didn't realize that he'd married someone awesome. So I think sometimes that's the way it is with business partners. You kind of need a couple of bad ones to kind of reevaluate and appreciate the ones you had that were good and realize where they were. But I think, I'm sure you have done as well, Tim. I've learned to, figure that out in people now. You know, like, and there are ways to do it, but you know, you can just tell. I mean, you just go to a restaurant with someone and see how they treat a waiter, for example. You know, there are little signs you can pick up that, you know, I'm now more aware than I was when I was in my 20s. In my 20s, you know, a lot of the time it's like, oh, let's do a deal. And I was just assuming everyone had the same moral code as me. You know, I did a deal with my own brother, my own flesh and blood, shook his hand, thought he was the same as me. He's my brother. He's not the same as me. He's different. And I'm not judging him and saying he's better, I'm better than him. I'm saying he just has a different business gauge, right? You know, his motto is, it's just business, mate. Don't take it personally. I'm like, I take business personally. You know, like, if I promise you something, I'm going to do it. I don't care about the cost to me. That's what I promised, right?
Yeah.
But not everyone's like that. And you got to just know, and that's okay. Not everyone's meant to be like that. But I don't want to be in business with people like that. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, that leads me on to another point. Someone asked me on my TikTok just saying, he goes, how do you motivate staff? How do you motivate your employees? And it all comes to the same sort of thing with the partners as well. Showing that common, you know, if you can share your common purpose of the business with your employees, they can understand what it is that you're trying to achieve, and you're sharing that journey with them, then they will then become that little bit extra emotionally attached. They're never going to be as emotionally attached to you unless they own equity, unless they own a slice. We all know that. And so you don't have those high expectations. I was talking to another guy on a live the day we did a co-host, and he was talking about how all his employees let him down. And I said, well, you have that feeling, but then you remember is that they're switching off at 5. You're not. You know, you will keep going to lower those expectations. But yeah, no, showing purpose, sharing the vision with everyone, I think and showing the vision when you're showing the vision as well with your audience, it's so much stronger. That connection is so much stronger. I always talk about that as well. I was just wondering if you talk about. I don't know how much time you've got here, bud. I don't know if I'm running over.
Oh, don't worry about it. My camera will work in a minute, but that's fine.
Okay, good. Growing a business, getting a business from 0 to 1, which is the toughest part, the most rewarding, most frustrating, most agonizing. One of the things I'm doing here at the moment, and one of the focuses on me is always adding value to my existing audience, always adding value to my existing customers. And it's one of the things I talk about quite a bit, and I just want to get your point of view on it. My point of view, we're starting, is not so much concentrating on the width of the audience, but concentrating on the depth that you have with your existing audience, because that audience becomes, you know, your marketing team. In effect, they're the ones that can, you know, the old word of mouth kind of investment. And one of the things I spoke to you about, and one of the things that I've done recently is. I spoke to you about what I call the grey area on social media, which is in between the producer and the consumer. There's another, instead of just being black and white, there's now a grey area that sits in between the two, where the consumers are consuming content made by consumers added on. So over the last few days, I've had quite a few of my customers do sort of box openings and watch reveals, which I've duetted, and so and the whole idea of this is tapping into that grey. How do I tap into that grey? And it's all about depth. I'd like to know. That's the way I'm building this business. Well, one of the parts. I was just wondering where you put your importance on in growing a business to get from 0 to 1.
Yeah, I think I did a TikTok exactly on the subject you're talking about, which I completely agree. Go deep, ideally, not wide. It's a lot easier. I always say manage purpose, not people. That's kind of my Instagram post. You know, that to me is the key. And I think I just said it to Ovi, who was on before. Ultimately, if you have a very strong purpose and you manage it well, then people will be driven by that purpose, and you won't have to manage them. And so, but as far as the community is concerned, I think there's going to be people that are not going to like you no matter what you do. And so, you know, you just have to accept that. And I think I like, you know, I'm a dyslexic, so I don't read much, but I do actually read some magazines like The Economist I quite like. And the reason I like The Economist is because they have a point of view. I know where they stand. They're honest about their point of view and they say it. And I like that in people. I like it when people stand for something. Now, that's not the same as not having the ability to change your mind or enhance your opinion or learn something new and improve. But I like it when people have a stance on things, you know. I personally really hate debt. I really think young people in particular are getting laden with so much debt so early. The system's really learned to lay on debt for people from university, for example, all the way through to as soon as they're out of university, you know, buy a car and get a credit card and get a mortgage and, you know, debt. And I feel like my early years, I traveled, I saw the world, I realized what the world was really like, all because I didn't have debt. You know, I've had those monthly costs. I'd need a monthly income. I wouldn't have been able to take those chances to go live on a friend's couch in Hong Kong, you know, like, so maybe I've gone off on a little bit of a tangent, Tim, but basically, yeah, I really think the community side is about, it is about going deep, but I also think it's about being very, very authentic about who you are and what you believe. And almost to the point where, you know, I don't like Trump, but I've got a few people that actually on my network do like Trump, and we have a debate about it, you know, like why they like them and why they don't. I don't like Trump, and I lose a lot of people because I say that. I
just said exactly the same thing on my TikTok. Because have you seen this like little coup thing that's going on at the moment, Capitol Hill?
I caught the rubbish. Yeah, I haven't really followed it. Yeah.
I wanted to ask my TikTok, and I said what I thought of Trump, and I said I don't like talking about politics, but he's a narcissistic, egotistical maniac. Right. I know he's not good. And then I had a few Americans that didn't agree with me. But that's politics for you.
That's what I mean. You know, I think I saw Gary Vee once say, you know, that he suggests that you don't say what your political party affiliation is because you'll lose 50% of your market. But then he actually did post up that he voted for Biden, right? And I think actually it shouldn't be so tribal in that way. I mean, I always have this crazy idea that, you know, if we had aliens coming to Earth and they were going to kill us all, the whole planet would have to unite to survive. And suddenly the evil people wouldn't be people in Russia or people in China, or, you know, it would be these aliens who are coming to kill us all, you know? So, you know, I think we sometimes need, I don't know, something to gather. I kind of hope COVID could have been that. You know, we should be a central COVID support unit. We're all in this together. It's a problem for everybody. You know, why is it that Britain is the winner because they got the vaccine out first? You know, as if it's a competition. It's you know, it's about surviving as a human race. You know, like anyway, yeah, maybe the Trump thing's always a tricky one, but yeah, it doesn't tell you a little bit about moral code, though. I think when you start to understand people's. One, I used to try to understand what I'd missed, and as I spoke to more people that voted for him, I realized I didn't want to know what I'd missed. I just, you know, they just didn't care about some of the most vulnerable in society, and they didn't care about the environment, and these things I care about. So I don't want to listen anymore. I want to stick to what matters, I think, to my child's future, which is a healthy planet, and so on, right? So.
Yeah, that's the right way to think. It's the right way to think.
Someone just said he's a tyrant. Be careful, Deborah. You're going to get blocked by someone. I hope you're not talking about Tim, by the way.
Yeah, I'm the tyrant. Definitely the tyrant. I've actually got a bit of a business idea to run past you, but maybe we should. I want to run it past you in private.
All right. Well, let's have another catch up. I've been at 5 a.m. today, you know, so I'm actually getting a bit hyped up over this Trump thing, but I probably should go and get some rest. And we should catch up. Maybe we can catch up Friday. Tomorrow I'm busy all day, but we could catch up Friday if you're around.
Yeah, I could catch up Friday.
All right. That'd be cool.
And then.
All right. Yeah, why don't you ping me on Messenger later with a time that you're available?
Yeah. Okay. Definitely.
Right, it was nice to chat.
Always good to chat, Simon.
Appreciate it. All right. Have a good.
Yeah. Cheers, buddy. Take it easy. Bye.
Bye. That's it, folks. that's the end of our broadcast this evening. Thanks so much for listening in. I hope you found it interesting and insightful. If you did, do me a favor, hit the like button. If you have any questions for Tim or Voyo, or you want to help in any way, then let me know in the comments below. If you are an entrepreneur out there looking for some help, feel free to reach out to us. We go live every day trying to help entrepreneurs. Equally, if you felt that any of the content in today's broadcast could be useful for a friend of yours, either starting a business or perhaps stuck in their business for whatever reason, maybe some of the points and things we discussed this evening could be useful for them, hit the share button and give them this information. I'd really appreciate it. I know it makes a big difference to the algorithm. We're fighting the system right now because I want to give you the content for free. The system wants me to pay it to reach you and get this content to you. And I want to keep giving you this content for free. So you could do me a big favor by sharing this broadcast and letting people know that this content might be valuable to anyone starting a business or anyone looking to grow their business, especially in this difficult time. So thanks, guys. We'll be back live tomorrow, 8:30 p.m. UK time. So if you want to get help, feel free to reach out via my website, simonscribb.com. Or of course, you can click the link in my bios and reach out through any of the channels that you're probably listening to today, which all have connection links in them. So thanks for listening.